y'all, and welcome to today's video. I thought it might be fun to sit down and kind of do a where are they now type of video with last year's favorites. I did a video in 2020 with my kind of yearly favorites video where I pulled products from different categories and I just told you my favorites. So now that it's 1 year later, I thought we could just chat. I could let you know, are these still favorites? Which most of them are, okay? If something is a favorite for me, it's usually a favorite and I don't change my mind on it. But some of these things I was like, oh, I can't believe that launched in 2020. Like, I thought it was older, or some of these things I was like, I thought I got that this year. So we are going to go through everything. I pulled up my old video. I have my list. We are going to talk about all these products and kind of where are they now in my favorites, you know? And if you are new here, hey, my name is Heather and makeup makes me happy. Here at my channel, we don't try to be perfect. We just want to have a good time with our makeup, whatever that means. And right now, we are in the middle of 35 days of Heather. That's tons of shimmer, glitter, revisiting favorites, lots of videos. 35 days of Heather is I'm uploading every day from the Sunday before Thanksgiving to Christmas Day for Vlogmas. So if you like fun makeup videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. But I have a lot of makeup sitting here in front of me, so let's jump into it. Okay, I mentioned my Plain Jane palette in my 2020 favorites. This is, or was at the time, the only ADEPT palette I had. And this is a palette full of shimmers, glittery shades, multi-chromes, duochromes, shifty shadows. And this is still a favorite. ADEPT is one of my favorite brands. They have launched some beautifully amazing palettes for 2021, but this is the palette that started my love and I put it in my favorites last year. So let me swatch a couple of these for y'all. They're just so beautiful. Y'all hear my pile of makeup is kind of falling, but ADEPT, I mean, I have a video swatching this palette, so if you want to see it in major action, you can definitely check that out. But ADEPT just makes some of my favorite packaging, some of my favorite shadows. Like, those are so shifty and iridescent and beautiful. And from the first time I tried Plain Jane, I just fell in love with ADEPT. And I was not surprised that it was in my yearly favorites. I love the packaging. I still love everything about it. I still reach for it. I mean, you can tell from last year's video to now how much more use these pans have, because even a year later, I'm still reaching for this palette. I also mentioned my Cleona Singles. Now, I did do a palette ranking last year, so I didn't have much like eyeshadow in my favorites because I saved palettes for a different type of video, but Cleona is still a favorite brand of mine. I think their shadows are absolutely stunning. Last year, I tried out Cleona and I have bought more this year. My love for them has continued. I have bought more shadows and my collection has definitely gotten bigger. I actually have another magnetic palette with Cleona shadows in it. So I just decided to pull out one for this video, and I do have videos like swatching these and telling you the names of everything. Let me see if I can give you a couple of swatches now. Look at that shade right there, how beautiful and shiny it is. Again, if you want to see names of everything, you can definitely check out my Cleona videos. But I love all things shimmer. I love all things sparkle. And if you're like me, I know that you'll love both ADEPT and Cleona because they give that fun eyeshadow fantasy with the sparkle and the glitter and the texture and everything that I love about shadows. I also mentioned Super Shock shadows. I love the ColourPop Super Shock formula. Last year was Raw Beauty Kristi and ColourPop's launch, so I remember I specifically mentioned her colors with ColourPop. There's one more of these, but I just grabbed 3 to talk about in today's video. This one is really pretty and shifty. It's kind of a gold green shade that's so beautiful. But overall, I love the Super Shock formula. It's like a cream to powder type of finish. They're usually very sparkly, although I do love the matte Super Shock formulas too, both for eyes and cheeks. What really get me are the ones that have the sparkle. I still love them. I bought many Super Shock shadows and cheek products this year. So far, all the favorites that I talked about last year are still favorites for me. I also mentioned Juvia's Place lip liners as a favorite last year, and for good reason. They're still definitely a favorite. I have used up several of these this year. Like, look, this is all I have left of this shade right here, Cola. I think I have one more, and the rest I've used up. I really need to pick up some more, but the shades are beautiful. The formula is so nice. Usually with a lip liner that is retractable like this, it can be a bit too creamy and messy and kind of go all over the place. But not with these. You still can get a nice line. The shade lasts. It's beautiful. These are not too stiff. You can see that I can kind of blend it in, which I like. That means I can kind of fill in my lip, mix it with other colors. But it's just such a great formula, and I think they're only like $10. Okay, last year I fell in love with Lunar Beauty lip glosses. I have so many of them. So many, and I actually have a few here in front of me. These are from his newest Outer Dimension collection. I'm actually wearing the shade Divine today. Lunar Beauty lip gloss, their Moon Prism glosses are my favorite glosses of all time. So I can't believe it's been over a year that I've been in love with that formula, but it's still like, it was a 2020 fave, it's a 2021 fave. I also mentioned the ColourPop Luxe glosses, and I still love these. I love the Luxe glosses. I just pulled out a couple right here. I have the Raw Beauty Kristi one. I have the one from the Milan collab, and then I pulled out one from Bambi. I love the Luxe lip glosses. I think they're really nice. They're a thick but not too thick formula. They come out with really nice shades. I like the caps, I like the short, like stout packaging. I think it's really nice. The formula lasts really well on me. It doesn't have a weird scent or taste. They always look good. I really like the ones that have shimmer in them in particular. I also mentioned the NYX HOURGLASS finishing powder, and if you have been around at my channel, you know I still love this. I have tried many other powders that are supposed to be dupes to this, and they're just not. Now, I'm worried that NYX is discontinuing this powder. Everything I talk about today, I will link down below for y'all if you're interested. But the NYX HOURGLASS powder has been out of stock a lot of places and on sale on the NYX site. Now, NYX makes a high glass illuminating powder. That is not what this is. This is the high glass finishing powder, and that's what I use it for. I use it to just finish off my makeup. I really love using it with my Lunar Beauty LBF1 brush just to kind of set down and finish off my face. I love this so much. I have tried, listen, the Dior Powder No Powder I love, but this is better. The Hudo Beauty Glowish powder I thought would be like this. Not at all. This is amazing. Like, every powder I try, I can have and try great face powders. Like I said, I love the Dior, but this is #1 favorite. I'm telling y'all, when I have a favorite, it stays a favorite, because I also mentioned this NYX HD finishing powder. Mine is in the shade Banana. I still love it. I still love it. It's a 2021 favorite. I have hit pan in here, and not just this one, but I have multiples and multiples and multiples. I use this under the eyes. I love it. It has stayed a favorite Another powder favorite is, of course, the Hudo Beauty. I talked about the Easy Bake powder last year, and I still love it. I bought this one at the last Sephora sale because I had used mine up completely and I needed another one. This is actually what I have under my eyes today to set. If I want to look flawless, glamorous, like full on glam, that is the powder I'm reaching for. I press it into my skin with a puff like this Blendiful, and it just sets everything so well. I also mentioned in my favorites my Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue concealer, and I can't remember if this launched in 2020 or if it launched in 2019, but I still love this concealer. I actually think I have a new Holy Grail that maybe has replaced this, but I'm still buying this and reaching for it constantly. I feel like this one and my Pat McGrath and my ABH Magic Touch Concealer are all like neck and neck, but this one is still amazing. It gives me great coverage, blends well, and wears well under the eyes. I talked about my Melt Supernatural Lash Mascara, and I'm so glad Melt decided to make this permanent. They brought it out with their Beetlejuice Holiday 2020 collection. It's the mascara I have on today. I actually thought about putting on some false lashes today, but I decided against it. But I did just realize I forgot to curl my lashes, so I'm going to do that. I love the Melt Mascara. I bought several before it was kind of discontinued. It was gone for a while, and Melt said they were going to bring it back, and now it's finally like on the Melt website. It's at Sephora. Like, it's so easy for me to get replenishments of now, and I'm so happy because this is honestly the best mascara ever. I also mentioned a couple of primers. The NYX Bear With Me is a primer that I love. This is definitely a favorite. These used to be filled to the brim, and because it's a clear primer, I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see, but I've used about half of this, and you only need a tiny bit. This reminds me a lot of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This one I would say is maybe just a little bit more hydrating. It is a hydrating jelly primer, but it's also really good at gripping the makeup. And it's like thick. See, I can tip it upside down and it doesn't come out. I really still enjoy this primer. And I also mentioned the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter for Superstar Youth Glow. And this is still a favorite too. This one I actually think I'm going to have to replace pretty soon. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but it's almost time for me to pull the stopper out because it's getting to where I kind of have to like scrape the sides of the jar. This product can be used in so many different ways. You can use it as like a liquid highlighter for a very subtle effect. You can use it like as foundation if you want a very sheer, just flawless filter. I like to use it as a primer, and that's one of the ways Charlotte Tilbury herself recommends to use. And I really like it. It just kind of blurs everything and gives me a nice glow before I go in with foundation. Last year I mentioned my contour wand from Charlotte Tilbury as a favorite, and it's still a favorite. I think that this is like the third one I've had, but it's a beautiful cream bronzer. I just put it on where I want it, blend it out. It blends out effortlessly. I love the packaging. I love everything about it. And I mentioned did I mention this? Last year, wait a minute, let me check my notes. I just thought, oh yes, I did. Okay, I was like, wait a minute. Did I mention this? Yes, I can't believe this launched in 2020. But listen, do you think it's still a favorite? This is a huge pan. Like, look, compared to my hand, well, I'm holding it. You can already compare it to my hand without me doing that. This is still a favorite. I love this. This is my favorite bronzer in my collection to this day. It blends seamlessly. I love the matte finish. I love the shade. I'm in the shade number 3. It just blends beautifully. It's a very buildable bronzer, so I can go light-handed if I'm not quite as tan, or I can build it up if I need a little bit more color from it. It's still my number 1 favorite bronzer. I also mentioned this BPERFECT Perfect Prime Eye Primer. I really like this. I was kind of surprised to see it on my list. I didn't remember putting this on there last year, but I think this is the best eye primer I can get at a drugstore price point. This is usually around $10 or $11 US dollars. I like my MAC paint pot the most. Like, this doesn't beat the MAC paint pot for me, but I do have oily, deep set eyes and I need a good eye primer. I'm not one of those people who can put concealer on and let that prime my eyeshadows. I have to go in with something like this. So I do really enjoy this. I reach for it often. I actually don't have very much left in here. When I use it, I kind of have to like squeeze the tube. I do really like this packaging, but I wouldn't say it beats out my MAC paint pot, but I can see if I tried it last year saying it was a yearly favorite. And if you're looking for an eye primer from the drugstore that keeps your makeup on or at a drugstore price point, this is the one I would recommend to go with. I only have 3 eye primers that I rotate through. I use my MAC paint pot, this one, or my Acid Rain base, and those are the only 3. Those are the only 3 that work for me. So I was kind of surprised and then not surprised that this was on my 2020 favorites. Okay, let's talk about some highlighters that were on my 2020 favorites. I actually had a lot, which doesn't surprise me, but this metallic strobe lighting palette from Hourglass is still a favorite. I reach for this very much. This is a beautiful, beautiful palette. I mix all 3 shades. I'll wear all 3 shades separately, but it is such a beautiful blend into the skin highlight. Like, every time I use it, I don't have to worry about a stripe on my cheek. It just sinks in and blends seamlessly. Something about the tones in here work perfectly for me. I love that it's in this trio. It's so beautiful. I think it's still available on the Hourglass site. I will try to find a link for it and I will have it down below if I can find it. I also had this. This is Give Me Glow Mirage. I am not gonna lie to y'all, I kind of forgot about this highlighter. Give Me Glow is one of those indie brands that sometimes they have things in stock, sometimes they don't, and I think this one was discontinued. I'll see if I can find it, but I remember using it and trying to link it for y'all, and then it kind of got pushed to the back of my highlighters because it was never available, and I didn't want to like constantly use something on camera that you weren't able to get. But this is one of those intense highlights. Let me kind of blend it in so you can see. Like, this is reflective and beautiful, and it is so intense, but in a very beautiful way on the skin, and I do love this one. But I remember I just didn't use it anymore because I was like always using it, and then y'all would ask me what I'm wearing, and I can't link it. It's just, I just quit using it. But I know Give Me Glow has come out with more highlighters since this one. This one to me is just really, really beautiful. I also mentioned Natasha Denona highlighters. I love the I Need a Dude Glow. These are still some of my favorites. And the Super Glow. That's what I have on my cheeks today. I have it on my cheeks and my nose. Still a holy grail highlighter for me. Also, her cheek palettes. I talked last year about the Love and the Bronze, and I still love these palettes. Let me show you how much more use I've gotten out of these. Like, can you see just how much use these cream and powder products have gotten? They are obviously still a favorite. The same with this one, and actually when Natasha Denona launched the duo that's different shades for her little mini love palette, I bought that too because I love these formulas so, so much. Of course, I still love my BPERFECT Get Wet highlighters. I can't get enough of these. I'm pretty sure a lot of these products I'm talking about today were in my top 3 video. I did like a top 3 complexion products. This was definitely in there. I have several shades, but I'm not going to swatch all of them. This one, y'all have seen me wear a thousand times. This is the shade Do You. This does have some shimmer to it, but it makes you have that kind of wet cheek look that I love. I love to look dewy, almost sweaty, but in a beautiful way. I also pulled my Collidos highlighters, and I still love these. I'm surprised. I don't think they've launched more of these this year, which definitely surprises me because Prophecy is a multi-chrome highlighter, which is so unique but so beautiful. And when you get it on the cheeks or the eyes, you can really just see how much it shifts. It's so beautiful. I have videos with these things. If you're like, Heather, I really want to see swatches of everything, you can definitely check that out. And I also mentioned Mars Melter. I love a pinky highlighter, and this one from Kaleidos is so good. It's just very pinky and shifty. Of course, I still love my Moon Prism blush palette from Lunar Beauty. This was in my favorites last year, and it's still one of my top blush formulas. I'm wearing these two shades right here today, just very lightly dusted on. I mean, this palette is beautiful. I'm constantly reaching for this, as well as my Melt Digital Dust Duos. I love these. Y'all hear me talk about these all the time. My favorite shade being Queen Bee. Last year, these definitely did not have as much use, but I'm reaching for them so much that that beautiful embossing is really only visible on the outside now. I just love that these are a 3-in-1 formula. I have all three that Melt makes. You know, you have this shade, or you can mix them to get a custom third shade. I mean, of course, they're still a favorite. They're amazing. My brow favorites from last year are still favorites. Do you see a theme here? If I love something, I love it. I love my Urban Decay Brow Blade. It's what I have in my brows today. One side is a micro pencil and one side is a brush tip. I love the way it does my brows, and the same with the Pink Honey. Look how used. This brow wax will last forever, but I have definitely used so much. Like, I'm scraping the sides now and having to dig in the bottom. It's what I have in my brows today. It puts my hair where I want it, and it doesn't let it move throughout the day, which is all I can ask for. Pink Honey is now available at Beauty Bay, which I'm so happy about because it just makes it so much more accessible. I also mentioned my new Lash serum. I still love and use that every single night. I also have my NYX Soft Matte Lip Creams. These are fabulous. I still use these. I love that they are thin. Like, it's not a thick liquid lip. It's not heavy on the lips. I have so many colors. I just pulled out a few, but I love them. They're opaque. You can also like go over and over your lips if you're somebody who likes to do that, and they're not gonna get like all crusty and gross. I love the matte lip formula. If you're looking for a great lipstick from the drugstore, check those out because they don't dry out your lips. Sometimes with liquid lipsticks, it is hard to find something that is long wear while also not sucking the life out of your lips, and those NYX ones are so good. I also had a Melt lipstick on the list, which I'm not surprised at all. This was from their Beetlejuice collection, which is still just a favorite makeup collection from 2020. I think the Melt Beetlejuice collection was just 10 out of 10. I still love everything about it, but I pulled out this shade, Miss Argentina. I think it's so beautiful. It's one of their matte lips, ultra matte lips, I'm sorry. But everything about it, from the formula to the shade to the packaging, just, it's still a favorite. I also mentioned my Propa Beauty lipsticks. I still love these. Propa Beauty makes one of my favorite lipstick formulas. They're very smooth and creamy. The shade range is beautiful because they go, it's like a nude for everybody. They go very deep, and they also have expanded their shades to some more fun colors like this one. This one right here, especially for this time of year, is just so perfect. This is the shade Unstoppable. I just love the satin finishes of these lipsticks. I think they're so nice and beautiful. Of course, I'm still in love with the two foundations I mentioned last year. Nars Soft Matte. I thought this launched this year. Now, you get a lot of product in here. You get 1.5 fluid ounces, whereas most foundations are just 1 ounce. I actually took this on a trip with me over the summer to see my good friend Karen Harris. This was the foundation I took because I knew I could get that beautiful finish. It was going to last and wear all day on me. And I think one of my most reached for foundations is my Pat McGrath still. I actually repurchased this because I used up an entire bottle, had to buy another. Both of these I love. In the Nars, I'm in the shade Syracuse, and in Pat McGrath, I'm medium 1/8. I also talked last year about BK Beauty brushes. These are just a few, but BK Beauty is still a favorite for me. These are clean. I pulled out clean ones to show y'all. This is probably my favorite foundation brush of all time, the 101. But dirty, I used BK Beauty brushes on the eyes today. I used these to set my face, foundation, powder, everything. I'm still completely in love with BK Beauty. I really hope that you enjoyed revisiting last year's favorites with me. I thought it would be fun to just do an update 1 year later, kind of where are they now. I would love to know, do you have any products that you fell in love with last year that you're still using this year? I certainly hope so. I love when we find great products and they just continue to be favorites, continue to work for us. So please let me know down below. I did want to let you know what else was on my face. I kind of think I went through everything. Lunar Beauty lip gloss, Lunar Beauty liquid lipstick. I told you blush and highlight. On my eyes, I'm wearing my Natasha Denona Zendo palette. This is a palette that launched earlier this year, and I will be doing a yearly favorites for this year. I will be doing a ranking of all my palettes. But yes, on my eyes today is the Zendo palette. I love that one. And Manny MUA's brand Lunar Beauty Outer Dimension face palette. That's the bronzers I have today. I have videos on both of these items in case you're curious, but that's what I have on. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subscribed because I'm uploading videos every day right now for Vlogmas. So I will see you tomorrow in another video. Bye!